announcer button, which is again a single button that turns into a complicated exercise. Jeffrey Moore, right side, 1967 Chevy 2, running in the Super Street Big Block Power Adder category. Brian, did you get some new shtick? The whole button, the whole... No, I know. It's part of the whole wag. It's part of the retro fun of 20 years of drag racing. Now, get some new material there. Chris Berry on the opposite side of the racetrack. I'm going to say Chris running in the M category, which is street race small block power adder. So we get to start to set some performance standards for these two categories. Track is sprayed, track is prepped. Chris Berry has located the pre-stage beam, which is out there. There he goes. Just ball on the right-hand side, big block just to the foot turn. So there we go. Now Chris Berry, 8:49.3 in the street race small block power adder category, cannot hand in that time slip. Too quick. Got to stick with an 8.50. One of the greatest drag and drive cars ever built. Randy Stewart's Mustang on the left. Big deal. 2001 Mustang. On the right side is Pontiac Firebird running in the street race small block naturally aspirated category. Now, Brian, on the right-hand side, this is the car where the passenger is Michael Borgren, who you know from the Gold Wagon. And it has got a 429 cubic inch naturally aspirated tunnel rammed LS in it, making 945 horsepower. And Borgren told me it is the most punishing thing he's ever been in on the street. Dave Deal's goal here for this run is to make the first 6-second pass in the history of the category of street race small block power adder. Super Street small block power adder. Yes. Super Street is a class that allows a funny car cage, and if they are teched up for it, they can run in the 60s. Got a set of 315 drag radials on the back of it, got a couple of parachutes hanging on the back. From Australia on the right-hand side, this is a Valiant Charger, a VH. You'll see it is right-hand drive. It has got a big block Chrysler in it, a 572, couple of turbos on it, and his goal is to just run in the 740s all week and not have to change the transmission. I was about to say as quickly as Brian changes his underwear, but that's not very frequent, so it was a bad analogy. That is correct. John Perone changed transmissions like 4 times 1 year in this thing over the course of a week, which was at least 3 more than my underwear changes of that same time frame. So you're accurate. Well, it's a really heavy car. It weighs like 4,200 pounds. Yeah, he told me 4,019 with him in it. And it is a very clean car. And very cool if you can get up close to it. Like, I don't have this. Go from, I think, a 3.4 rear gear to the 373. It is a new combo for him. So here comes Glenn Hunter on the left-hand side. Hunter out of New York, the 1956 Chevrolet. Boy, this car is awesome. It has run down to the 6-second bracket before the Maryland International Raceway. The wheel everything that's taken away the wheel stands and drag feet like we used to see. And then coming out of the hole right there, Clint's putting on a show, man. He did almost, if it was a funny car, we would have said he almost flattened the head.
Yes.
It was pretty close.
Plenty of traction out there too, so when he got back in the throttle, it climbed right back up again. The 1955 Chevrolet.
Most updated list as of last night, there will be quite a few class changes. See, that wasn't even supposed to be read out loud, but I did. Well, actually, the racer entry list is on unrun.com. You can go check that out if you're wondering if it's there yet. Oh, it's not there yet. They're working on getting that up, but it is in Brian's hands. This one's pretty...
So as Bose makes his way back, you know, again, time's going to tell this morning what low ET is going to be. We know that we saw a deal try to run that 6-second lap, break the tires loose above the 330. Bose's car has got some serious power as well. Of course, these A and B groups, these are the highest performing grouping of categories. His time goes 8:08 at one racetrack too.
Was that
but you cannot. No, the wall didn't sink, so I don't believe it was him. Alan Whitaker, the 1972 Monte Carlo, and Bob Ruppel coming back. We know Bob, he's run a ton of these things, and who can forget the color of that car? I'm going to guess we see Alan back again only because I think there's a little bit more to be had early, and that run was as clean as it comes. But man, just a tick shy of 200 in what is effectively a stock body 1972 Monte Carlo. James Williams coming up, the 1980 Malibu right side, silver with a black rally stripe. And Les Smith,
the unlimited car of Les Smith, and the Pro Street Power Adder car on the right-hand side. Look at the tire under that thing. It's hard to call that a Pro Street car, but there is a rule that it's 11.25 inches on the ground. If you exceed that, you go into some of the big tire classes.
He saw the rear suspension start to go to work where the back of the car was physically climbing up as it drives the tire in, but it did appear that this car almost kind of ran out of shock, and when you top the shocks out, it tends to bust the tire loose.
We have already seen 3 7-second cars this morning.
Corey Penn coming up on the left side, 1971 Dark TJ Linebaugh, 1972 Fairmont. Blown Chevy Nova on the right side, running in the gas or A-gas category. That is Wayne Baker. And it's just so mean looking, so high riding. And Jim Treadle, the 1968 Pontiac Firebird in green. Beauty and the Beast out there right now.
Once again, just like in the tower. The blown big block Nova here is in A-gas, which is the gas category that has to look like an old school drag race car.
Coming up, Arbitrage's car is one of the competitors in the Ultimate Iron category. And to be a real player in this class, you need to run in the high 6-second bracket. There's no two ways about it. Really, the mid 6-second bracket is probably where you want to be if you're trying to run with a guy like Brian Goldstone. Armitrout has been testing this car. He's been running the wheels off it, and now we get to see the fruits of his labor out here. I believe we started putting all the power to it at about 250, 300 feet, especially the left-hand side. We've seen a few of them bust the tires loose. Already a racer.
I have a Nova. They need an LS head gasket. I don't know, Brian. Do you think there's an LS head gasket on property? With Tony Angelo, or Tony Angelo's riding with him.
Randy Bellahar and Mark Cicino, two longtime drag week runners. Cicino this year was part of the drag week exhibition that was run at the NHRA New England Nationals in Epping, New Hampshire, and he won. A very cool day, a very cool moment for Mark Cicino, but this is a guy in a car that he has competed in a very long time.
And Randy Bellahar in the left-hand side with his Pontiac-powered Pontiac and Street Race Big Block Power Rider is in fact your record holder in class, and the quickest average holder in the history of the class, I believe.
Mike Finnegan has actually
that red lights do not matter at Hot Rod Drag Week. This is more time trials than drag racing.
Chuck Stefanski coming up down the left-hand side. You cannot forget this thing once you see it. Stefanski's car, he's got those headers that run right out in front of the front fenders above the tires. And Dustin Trance, this is one of the all-time Zen voodoo masters of the 850 Index class, of course known as Street Race Small Block Power Adder. Trance is the guy who was just a swami at this last year, making repeated runs to make sure he was as close to 850 with a zero as possible. We'll see what he can lay up here right now, this 05 Mustang. Same car that he's run for a couple of years. 730 at 191, and Trance is a mile and a half long. Next up, Mike Finnegan, rolling up here on the left-hand side of the drag strip. It is the Blasphemy 1955 Chevrolet that has gone through a raft of updates. A new front end, a new nose on the car, and a slipper clutch has been put in there. He got rid of the diaphragm-style clutch that was in it, and he has had some very good results in testing with that new clutch. And he has a G56 back in it. It's a 6 performance unit. He was running a clutchless 4-speed prior to this. And Nick Deleno right side. So they'll go back to the pits and get a look at that thing, and I'm sure we'll see Mike again a little bit later on today. Doug Kistler coming up left-hand side, the 1972 Nova. In the Kistler in red on that right-hand side. Brian Acton on the left side, the Chevy Nova. This is a car you see a lot of places, whether it's roadkill nights, whether it's drag week, whether it's any of the other multitude of drag and drive events around the country. They really do race the wheels off this thing. Bill Ford, the guy that 1969 developed. With a run, 160, and how Acton goes at 847. He also running in the same class. So we talk about how drag week strategy changes day by day, moment by moment. That run right there sets what is now the leader, unless somebody goes 850 with a zero, and it makes a guy like Brian Acton's life way more complicated, because now they have no choice but to stay here and run that car until they can get close. Because if you leave here even a couple of hundredths off that 850, lights out.
Think of the urban drag. Off the throttle. The suspenders were pretty lime. Was it Limelight? Well, Limelight's a different color.
Okay, so what was the other green?
I forget what the Plymouth name was for sassy craft.
Green Go. Sublime.
Green Go. And you had Limelight and Sublime on the Plymouth, or maybe it was vice versa. I'm a bad Mopar guy.
Ned Dunphy has come around the corner, but first we have Clark Rosenstengel on one side and Sam Colalilo on the other side. That's an 87 Grand National. That is a mean-looking piece. He is running in the street race big block power adder category.
Rosenstengel, going back to the very early days of Drag Week, I remember first seeing him at US 131. This car has done the standing mile down in Arkansas. I think he told me it went 263 or 268.
Yeah, it was well over 260 miles an hour during the standing mile. Clark Rosenstengel goes 707 total, 205 miles an hour. That thing just makes power for days. Nicole.
Steps to the north.